From the TranslationMon Twitter account, August 6th, 2024, 6 AM. I think I'm going to start actually playing the Digimon card game.
Not competitively though. Lol. Just for fun.
Oh, I did too much competitive Magic the Gathering like 10 years ago and I'm still burnt out.
He said, like a liar.
I originally got into the Digimon card game because I was really enjoying Digimon Liberator, which is the free webcomic and novel currently being released on digimoncard.com. While I had collected the TCG from the first set back in 2020 up until around the 10th set, I hadn't really actually played the game. I kind of knew the rules and the general things about playing the game, but I hadn't actually played the game itself that much or at all. However, in 2024, when I finally decided to actually start playing the TCG, the LGS Games portal invited me to come down to their Monday night locals, and I immediately fell in love with the game. At the time, my deck was just 2 of the Double Typhoon Advanced starter decks, with a few other cards from my collection kind of just thrown in that were from the earlier sets. I soon also picked up the Liberator starter decks that had just released. Now, I do intend on making a video about these starter decks at a later date, especially about how I recommend certain starter decks to pick up as a new player, because a lot of these, especially the more recent starter decks, are pretty good and can be easily edited to be more competitive. So from these starter decks, the Guardian Vortex starter deck became my main deck, and I soon was going to 1 to 3 locals a week, so Games Portal, Grand J Games, and Aussie Collectibles. I was also, of course, playing just friendlies with friends, as well as playing games on the simulators, so that's DCGO and Razel. Everyone at every store that I've been to has been exceptionally welcoming and patient, especially to new players. And not just that, but I made some absolutely amazing, incredible friends whom I love so much, who basically went from being complete strangers just under a year ago to people I happily convoyed the 9 hours up to Sydney for regionals with in late July 2025. While yes, I had previously played Magic the Gathering over a decade ago, and I was playing that just as much as I'm now playing the Digimon TCG, the Digimon card game feels a lot easier to get into and enjoy, and I much prefer the memory system in Digimon to having to draw my resources like an MTG. That means that I feel like you're less reliant on just pure luck. You still need to draw cards that you need, but you're not going to suffer just because you're missing that resource, because it's a shared resource, the memory gauge. So that's something I really do prefer about the Digimon card game as opposed to the other card game that I've played extensively, which is Magic the Gathering. And I did play that a lot over a decade ago, but while I was playing it just as much as I'm playing Digimon, I found that Digimon was a lot easier to pick up. I'm doing a lot better than I ever was at Magic the Gathering. I went from basically being completely new at the game to a few months later winning locals, and then gradually doing better at the bigger tournaments like regionals and Nats, to getting top 8 back at the regionals in July 2025. So there's not just that, but the Digimon TCG is also incredibly faithful to the franchise, which makes it very appealing to fans of the franchise, especially a long-term fan like myself. From Marcus from Data Squad being able to actually fight Digimon and players just as a human tamer, to Rika and Renamon from Tamers using many option cards for free or for very little memory. So much of the card game feels like this massive love letter to the franchise, and I absolutely recommend it to any fan of Digimon, be it a long-term fan, be it a sort of returning fan, albeit someone who just enjoys Digimon, it's absolutely a fantastic love letter to this franchise, and again, it has a lot of aspects that are incredibly faithful to the franchise as a whole, not just the anime, but to the video games, to the lore, to the original virtual pets. So it's really great to pick up, and it's absolutely something I recommend for basically any fan of the franchise. Again, I do intend on making a video about which starter decks and what decks to pick up for anyone who wants to start playing the TCG. But for now, let's look at some of the decks that I've built and what I love about the decks and why I feel like some of this is just fantastic in terms as a faithful love letter to the franchise. So here are my decks. This is on DigimonCard.io. You can see that I've kind of gone a little bit insane. I have 28 decks built. I'm pretty sure I have all of these actually built and sleeved, or at least kind of put together. So I won't go over every single one of these decks, but I will go over like ones that are faithful to the franchise. So we've got the Palmon Is My Pal, which is more of a recent-ish deck. It is based on the Digimon virtual pets, and it has a lot of cute mechanics that reference the start of the franchise. This set was of course released to celebrate the anniversary of the original virtual pets, so the mechanic introduced in this set was called training. So this means that you can suspend your Digimon. This can be done from the breeding area as well, so you can just keep on training in breeding, so your Digimon is safe from being affected by anything that's going on in the battlefield. So you basically just take the top card of your deck and you shove it underneath, and higher forms will be able to use these cards as basically pieces to do different things. So for example, we have the Megadramon, and you can place one Digimon card from your trash as the bottom Digivolution card, and then delete 2 of the opponent's play cost for a lower Digimon. And then of course for each of this Digimon's face down Digivolution cards, you add 1 to the play cost's maximum. So if you've been training from your level 4, you can have quite a big stack and pretty much delete anything. You of course also have your Chimeramon, which is kind of a reference to a few things in the franchise. It's a composite Digimon, and you're putting Digimon together to form Chimeramon from your trash, and you kind of have to pick one of each Digimon, and that is pretty much a nice little reference and a nod to the fact that Chimeramon, as you can see, is put together from different pieces of Digimon. So you've got Garuramon's legs, you've got Kabuterimon's head, you've got Greymon's body, etc, etc. Then you have the protein and the meat, which of course is how you take care of your Digimon in the Digimon virtual pet. So the meat, you draw one, and then by placing one card from your hand face down as the bottom Digivolution card, it can Digivolve into a DM trait Digimon in the hand with the Digivolution cost reduced by 2. Protein, another draw, but this time the delay effect, so you trash this card after the turn after you place it, or turns after you place it, and this is trashing one of the DM trait Digimon's bottom 2 Digivolution cards it unsuspends. So that's another nice nod to the original virtual pets, and also they've got the little sprites there on the art itself. You've got Ogremon eating the meat, and you've got Betamon eating the protein. In a similar way, the bottoms of all the DM cards have the sprite of the Digimon coloured in. That's just a cute little reference as well. So that's one of the decks that I sort of say it's a cute little nod to the franchise. Not all of them are that deep in terms of the references, but I'd say most of them are. The other one that I like, because of how faithful it is to the franchise, is of course the Shine Greymon deck, which once it loads, I'll be very ecstatic. There we are. So this one, as I mentioned at the start of the video, your Marcus/Masaru basically can become a Digimon itself. And again, I feel like that's really nice. A lot of the tamers don't fight, they just kind of sit there. The exception, of course, also being the hybrids. which is the Digimon from Digimon Frontier, but they more so evolve into Digimon rather than just basically becoming Digimon for a turn. So if you have a Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name, by paying 1 memory for the turn, this Digimon is also treated as a 3000 DP Digimon, which can't Digivolve. So, well, it can't Digivolve because it's just a guy. It's not a character from Digimon Frontier. It is just Marcus, and you can punch your opponent or you can punch their Digimon, and that's basically the deck. You evolve up to your Shine Greymon, and you have your Marcus, which also does damage as well. So you can swing a lot, and it's a cute little reference to Digimon Savers. I don't have the Sakuyamon deck built, which is the one where Rika uses a lot of option cards for free or very little memory, as I mentioned at the start of the video. There is, however, another advanced starter deck coming out at the end of the year, I believe, in a few months, and I do intend on picking that up, just because it's, again, a nice little reference to the franchise. And there's also other things like the field traits, which are references to the fields in the Digimon franchise. They are in the Digimon Pendulum series as well, and of course it just kind of, it has all the Digimon with a certain field. So this is the Wind Guardians one. So they evolve from each other. Usually you can only evolve from one colour to the same colour, or it has to actually specify the colour, but it also evolves onto Digimon with the Wind Guardian, which is written as WG trait. So there's not all of the fields at the moment. There's Wind Guardians, Nightmare Soldiers, Nature Spirits, and Deep Sabers. But I'm hoping that they do release the other fields as well. I haven't played that deck too much, but it is a fairly fun deck because it has my favourite mechanic, which is Vortex, which I won't go over too much because I've talked about the Zafaga deck quite a bit. Check out literally any of my other videos if you're interested in how Vortex works, or my Zafaga deck in general. But so I won't go over that because, yeah, I've done it many times. We also have, of course, Atmon, which is my favourite series of the Digimon anime, and I've mentioned this again, like previously, but I really do love what Bandai have done with Atmon to make them both Digimon but also a little bit different from Digimon. So you can evolve Digimon from Atmon and Atmon from Digimon, but you can't app-link a Digimon. It has to be, you have to app-link an Atmon. So app-linking is you can plug a card in, instead of putting it on vertically, like you would usually put evolution cards and everything, you put it in horizontally so it plugs into the bottom, and from there you can app fuse, which is kind of like DNA Digivolution, but you move the app link card kind of to just below the card you're app fusing into, but it is still treated as when digivolving rather than playing, so you do get a draw and you do get when digivolving effects. Again, I run OmniX in this because why wouldn't I? It evolves from red and white, and my level 6 is red and white, so that's fine. And that just means that when I digivolve into OmniX, I have to trash all the app link cards because it's no longer an Atmon and they just have to go away. So it works with non-Atmon cards. I've gone over another deck, which is the Three Muskets deck, which works with Atmon as well as the Three Musket cards. So, again, it is very faithful to the franchise because Atmon are Digimon, but they're also a little bit different from Digimon and are treated kind of differently, but they are still Digimon. You can evolve to and from regular Digimon. So, again, it's kind of nice to have that clarification because a lot of people are like, how are they going to be involved in Digimon when they're different but also the same? And it's honestly the most faithful I think you can get for Atmon being different. So I have, yes, 28 decks because I love this card game very much. I absolutely love it more than I loved Magic the Gathering back in the day. It's definitely more fun. I'm definitely doing better at Digimon that I was with Magic the Gathering, and while I made lots of friends playing Magic the Gathering, I've absolutely made very important lifelong friends because of the Digimon card game. And while yes, I am playing a lot of Digimon a week, I wouldn't be going to that many locals and to that many events hadn't I made some of those amazing, wonderful friends that I've made in this past, basically less than a year. I'm releasing this as like my anniversary of playing the Digimon card game, but I first decided to play it in late August, and then I think I went to my first locals, which was basically my first time playing the game, in about mid-September. I think it was like September 19th off the top of my head. So I went from being not good at the game, I had my first time playing the Digimon card game, I was up against 2 Galaxy Mirage decks and a Hexblow deck, and those were my 3 rounds, so I didn't get to play much of the game, but I did learn, and everyone was really happy to teach. They weren't like, oh, a new player, someone who doesn't know how to play the game. They were very patient, they were very happy to explain the rules, they were happy to point out, oh, you should do this, or do you have a card that does this? They were very happy to help, rather than just seeing the person that they were playing against as just their opponent. They saw me as a human just playing the game and trying to get better at the game, trying to learn the game. So everyone has always been very helpful, very accepting, very welcoming, very warm. And while I did sort of find that with Magic the Gathering, I didn't find it as, there wasn't that level of camaraderie. It was just kind of like, oh, that person is my opponent. Once the game's done, I'm going to go now. There was no like further discussion. Even if I've played against this person before, even if I have met this person and talked to them before, it's felt always like, this person is my opponent. Okay, round's over. I've reported my results. Goodbye. And I feel like there's a little bit more from Digimon, but again, that was Magic the Gathering like a decade ago, so maybe it's changed, but I felt like the Digimon TCG has a lot more people who are just happy to make friends, happy to talk about Digimon, say, hey, what do you think about Digimon Story Time Stranger? Are you excited for Digimon Elysion? Like, everyone's kind of happy to talk about Digimon outside of just having the game, and I just find that really nice. But more or less, those are my thoughts about playing the card game for nearly a year now. I don't know how I got, I'm a liar. I do know how I got so good so quickly. My best friend now is Sean Gilmon Bread. He won Nationals back in January, and he basically helps me a lot play my decks, test my decks, gives me pointers. So, okay, it's probably like the company that I keep is why that I'm doing so much better so fast, despite sometimes I still class myself as a newish player because I feel like I am new compared to the people who I play against, the people I hang out with. They've all been playing for like years and years and years, and I just kind of feel like the new kid on the block, but I'm absolutely better because of the friends that I have met because of this card game. But yeah, that's it for this video. I just thought I'd do something special for my year of playing the Digimon card game. Again, I do intend on making a video going over starter decks and which ones are good for people who are brand new to this TCG to pick up. But that's of course in the future. But for now, let me know your thoughts, comments, questions, etc., in the comment section below. Like this video for... I can't believe I've been playing this for a year. It feels like it was so, recent, but also so long ago at the same time. Especially, again, with some people who I absolutely love, who I now consider basically pretty much all my best friends. So that's really been great as well. That's another reason, again, why I go to so many events, because I love my friends. I get to see my friends. It's a social outing as well as playing Digimon. It's not just me sitting down playing Digimon for like 8 hours and then going home and not interacting with everyone. It's me seeing these people, having a good time, talking to them in between rounds, telling them, my thoughts about the world, that kind of thing. So like this video for that. So please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm really trying to get to 20,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's not looking likely, but I can still try, so subscribe if you haven't already. And if you have subscribed, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your enemies, tell your opponent, at a Digimon card game event, hey, have you heard of LostinTranslationmon? Pretty cool guy, I don't know, something like that. But yes, thank you so much for watching, and of course, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!